So today we are going to create a finger knitted Christmas garland. And to start finger knitting, you start by making a slip knot. You sew your tail across your palm, you wrap your top two fingers with the yarn, and you tuck in between the loop between your fingers, and you pull the tail tight. Now you have a slip knot that can be tightened by pulling your working yarn. To finger knit, it's literally knitting across your fingers rather than using knitting needles. You start by putting the slip knot over your pointer finger and pulling it snug. Not tight, just snug. You're then going to weave the yarn in between your fingers, starting behind your middle finger, in front of your ring finger, behind your pinky. You then come up in front of your pinky, behind your ring finger, in front of your middle finger, and behind your index or your pointer finger. And this is important because your pointer finger is where you're going to start. We are going to be knitting something called an I-cord, which creates a tube. So we're always going to be starting from the top of our pointer finger. We could knit back and forth, which would create a strip, but we want a sort of pleasing garland shape. So we're going to knit the I-cord instead. So you start by coming off the back of your pointer finger across the front, and you take this first loop and you pull it up and over the second strand. And you do it the same with the next finger. You pull the loop that's around your finger up and over that second strand. And the same with the third and the fourth. And so now your yarn is coming off of your pinky finger. You're going to come up and over your pointer finger again, and you're going to do exactly the same thing. You're going to pull the loop that's on your finger up and over the new yarn all the way along. Eventually you're going to start pulling that tail to start creating the tube. So, coming from the back every single time, you're going to pull those loops up and over. And as you can see, it goes very, very quickly, and it is a very loose weave. So don't be alarmed about how big the holes are. And as you go, every time you tug on the tail in the back, you're going to end up with it pulling tight and starting to create that loop, or that tube. I like to sit down in front of a movie, and I can sit there, and in a matter of 20 minutes, half an hour, maybe a little longer depending how distracted I get, I can end up with a full-size garland from one ball of yarn. At the very end, when you're done, you break your yarn, or say you just finish up, and you just literally weave it back, weave it through this time. So you pick up each loop and you just take it off. So I'm pulling the end all the way through of each loop, and you pull it tight, and there you have the end. And again, it's not perfect in terms of being really smooth and even, but because it's a garland, it doesn't matter. So you're all ready to deck the halls.